Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Gaur, Hare Gaur, Shri Harinam Sankirtan ki Jai, Shri Shri Radha Radhakanth ki Jai, Savitar Gaurachandra ki Jai, Granth Raj Srimad Bhagavatam ki Jai, Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Shaya Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Budhirayat Nashtaprayeshva Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavatuttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavatina Ishtaki Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Krishna Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Nityaname Namaste Saraswate Deve Guruvani Pracharine Nirvisesa Sunyavadi Paschyatai Desatarine. So reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Chapter 7, Scheduled Incarnations, Text 52. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Please repeat. Yata Haro Bhagavati.
Yata Haro Bhagavati.
Rinam Bhaktir Bhavishyati.
Rinam Bhaktir Bhavishyati.
Sarvatmani Akiladhare.
Sarvatmani Akiladhare.
Iti Sankalpya Varnaya.
Iti Sankalpya Varnaya.
Jataharo Bhagavati.
Jataharo Bhagavati.
Rinam Bhaktir Bhavishyati.
Rinam Bhaktir Bhavishyati.
Sarvatmani Akiladhare.
Sarvatmani Akiladhare.
Iti Sankalpya Varnaya.
Iti Sankalpya Varnaya. Yatahara Bhagavati. Yatahara Bhagavati. Nrinam Bhaktir Bhavishyati. Nrinam Bhaktir Bhavishyati. Sarvatmanya Kiladhare.
Sarvatmanya Akiladhare.
Iti Sankalpya Varnaya. Iti Sankalpya Varnaya.
Yataharo Bhagavati.
Yatahara Bhagavati.
Nam Bhaktir Bhavishyati.
Rinam Bhaktir Bhavishyati.
Sarvatmani Akiladhare.
Sarvatmani Akiladhare.
Iti Sankalpya Varnaya.
Iti Sankalpya Varnaya.
Yatahara Bhagavati.
Yatahara Bhagavati.
Rinam Bhaktir
bhaktirabhishyati
Sarvatmanyakhiladhare Itti sankopya varnaya
Yatahara Bhagavati
Nenam bhaktir bhavishyati Sarvatmanyakhiladhare Itti sankopya varnaya
Yatahara Bhagavati Nirnam Bhaktir Bhavishyati Sarvatmanyakhiladhare Itti sankopya varnaya
Word for word synonyms, please repeat. Yata, as much as, Haro, unto the personality of Godhead, Bhagavati, unto the Lord, Rinam, for human beings, Bhakti, devotional service, Bhavishyati, become enlightened, Sarva Atmani, the absolute whole, Akila Adhare, unto the Samam Bonam, Iti, thus, Sankalpya, by determination, Varnaya, describe. Translation. Lord Brahma is continuing giving his direction to Narada Muni. Please describe the science of Godhead with determination and in a manner by which it will be quite possible for the human being to develop transcendental devotional service unto the personality of Godhead Hari, the supersoul of every living being, and the summum bonum, source of all energies. Please repeat. Please describe the science of Godhead. With determination. And in a manner by which. It will be quite possible for the human being. To develop transcendental devotional service. Unto the personality of Godhead Hari. The supersoul of every living being. And the summum bonum, source of all energy. Srila Prabhupada's purport. Srimad Bhagavatam is the philosophy of devotional service and the scientific presentation of a man's relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Prior to the age of Kali, there was no need for such a book of knowledge to know the Lord and his potential energies. But with the beginning of the age of Kali, human society gradually became influenced by four sinful principles, namely illegitimate connection with women, intoxication, gambling, and unnecessary killing of animals. Because of these basic sinful acts, man gradually became forgetful of his eternal relation to God. Therefore, man became blind, so to speak, to his ultimate goal of life. The ultimate goal of life is not to pass a life of irresponsibility like the animals and indulge in a polished way in the four animal propensities, namely eating, sleeping, fearing, and mating. For such a blind human society in the darkness of ignorance, Srimad Bhagavatam is the torchlight to see things in proper perspective. Therefore, it was necessary to describe the science of God from the very beginning or from the very birth of the phenomenal world. It's very interesting how Prabhupada points out this important point from the diverting from Vedic principles of a regulated life. Regulation means regulating or controlling the animal propensities of eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. So the age of Kali is characterized by a degradation where human society, so-called human society, is overly absorbed in these activities, and it becomes irregulated and therefore sinful, absorbed in illicit sexual connections, killing and eating animal, meat eating and gambling. So intoxication. And these activities in themselves cover over the consciousness of the human being. There's a nice, actually a very nice verse. I've always liked this verse. It's by Jagadananda Pandit from Prema Vivarta. It says, as soon as one becomes inimical to Krishna and desires sense gratification, he is immediately struck down by the illusory energy of the Lord. So, Prabhupada says at one point, slapped down. So when they're in, as we know, like the sun, Prabhupada uses this analogy quite often, where there is sunshine and there's no darkness, so where there is Krishna, there's no Maya. So, and in the Bhagavatam, very important verse that Prabhupada, actually he made it as an introductory verse from the 3rd chapter of the 1st canto, Krishna Svadhamopagate, Dharma Jnana Dibihi Saha, Kalo Nashta Drusham Isha, Paranarko Dinoditaha, that says that this Bhagavat Purana is as brilliant as the sun and has arisen just after the departure of Lord Sri Krishna to his own abode, accompanied with religion, knowledge, etc. And those persons who have lost their vision due to the dense darkness of ignorance in this age of Kali shall get light from this Purana. So over so many years now, the age of Kali Yuga, and it's just beginning, human beings have actually lost perspective from a Vedic culture based on God consciousness. It's turned into a godless society. Material science, mechanistic technology, and thinking they're advanced. And as Prabhupada says here, people are just satisfied with getting these necessities and so-called enjoying their eating, sleeping, sexual propensities, and all that. So they remain covered over and dissatisfied. And so completely lost their vision of the purpose of human life, become like animals. Actually, what is it said? Dvipada pashu, two-legged animals. And now we see how it's causing more and more chaos, socially, politically. The spiritual vacuum is there, so there's no satisfaction. Dissatisfied society. And more just exploiting, until it's impossible to keep any balance in human society, even harmony with Mother Earth and getting our basic necessities. I'll continue the report. As we have already explained, Srimad Bhagavatam is so scientifically presented that any sincere student of this great science will be able to understand the science of God simply by reading it with attention or simply by regularly hearing it from the bona fide speaker. Everyone is hankering after happiness in life, but in this age the members of human society, blind as they are, do not have the proper vision that the personality of Godhead is the reservoir of all happiness, because He is the ultimate source of everything. Janmadyasya yataha. Happiness in complete perfection, without hindrance, can be achieved only by our devotional relationship with Him. And it is only by His association that we can get free of distressful material existence. Even those who are after the enjoyment of this material world can also take shelter of the great science of Srimad Bhagavatam, and they will be successful at the end. Narada is therefore requested or ordered by his spiritual master to present this science with determination and in good plan. Narada was never advised to preach the principles of Bhagavatam to earn a livelihood. He was ordered by his spiritual master to take the matter very seriously in a missionary spirit. So interesting point Prabhupada brings out. That even those who are wanting material enjoyment should approach the Lord, and ultimately they'll gain perfection. It's a nice verse also, probably remember it earlier in this canto. Akama sarvakama moksha-kama udarati tirena bhakti yogena yadita purusham param. That those who have no material desires, akama, those who have sarvakama, all material desires, and those with moksha-kama, desire for liberation, everyone should worship the Supreme Lord, and thus their desires will be fulfilled. And we can analyze, well, how are those with all these material desires will gradually attain perfection? Because of this connection with the Lord, who is the Supreme Pure, they become purified from their material desires. It may take some time, it will take time, but gradually they become regulated and they turn to, their hearts will open to realize their need for their connection with the Lord. Now, I was just thinking on this verse and these verses, how Lord, like a bigger picture, what's going on, how Lord Brahma is instructing Narada Muni, how this is how the Lord is actually delivering His devotees. He uses His devotees. And Lord Brahma is the head of our sampradaya, our disciplic succession. And Narada Muni is the next one in line. So Lord Brahma, as we hear right from the first verse of Bhagavatam, Tene Brahma Rida, that he was enlightened from within the heart by the Lord Himself, given a whole picture of the spiritual world and relationship with the living entities, and the perfection of devotional service. And so he is beginning this line from one person to another of instructing the human beings, and this is what he's ordering. It's by request from guru to disciple to describe, and he's asking Narada to present Srimad Bhagavatam. And Bhagavatam is giving the goal of pure devotional service. This is the Lord's promise, Paritranaya sadhanam vinashaya dushkritam. So, to deliver the pious, he's using his devotees to present, to reveal himself. And Bhagavatam is described, Srimad Bhagavatam is the literary incarnation of God, given by the incarnation of God, Vyasadeva. Vyasadeva in this age of Kali, he's called Krishna Dvaipayana Vyas, because he's actually an incarnation of the Lord, especially he's actually an incarnation, not just an empowered jiva. So, and then his pastime is to delineate all the Vedas, Mahabharata, Itihasas, Puranas, and then we know the story that he's not satisfied completely. So Narada Muni takes the role as teacher and directs him to present Srimad Bhagavatam, because he's not fully glorified the Lord. So Bhagavatam is giving Krishna, it's giving all levels of understanding of Sambandha, Abhideya, Prayojana. Sambandha meaning the relationship with the Lord, and then Abhideya, the process, and presenting it's perfect in this way that Bhagavatam is full of all pure devotees of the Lord that are speaking. The 12 Mahajans are there, all speaking, and devotional service, we can hear, okay, the goal of life is pure devotional service. But if we don't see how it's enacted, how its devotional service is applied, and in many different ways, different angles of vision by different persons, then it could be very hard to apply in our life. So this is Srimad Bhagavatam, that's actually presenting devotional service and so many success stories, and different devotees are expert, are the example of different processes of the 9 processes of devotional service. Like Shukadeva Goswami is speaking, Parikshit Maharaj is hearing. Should we have a quiz? Who's behind remembering? Shravanam Kirtan. Smarnam? Is it Prahlad? And then praying. Who's
Akrura. That was Akrura.
Akrura. Worshipping?
Ambarish.
Ambarish? Or
Not there.
Prithu Maharaj, I think.
No, Prithu.
Becoming a friend.
Arjuna.
Arjuna. Worshipping the lotus feet.
Lakshmi.
Lakshmi. Dasyam. Hanuman. And Atmanivedanam.
Bali Maharaj.
Bali Maharaj. So we're seeing in the pages of the Bhagavatam, we're hearing about giving wonderful examples about how devotees have perfectly executed the different processes of devotional service, and therefore become perfect. And in the verse, stating how from the explanation is from the very beginning on how living beings, they can understand of the Lord, who is the source of all energies. So Bhagavatam begins, with creation and going up and up from the. So we can appreciate, and Srila Prabhupada would always stress how each topic from creation, beginning with creation, is just as important to appreciate the Lord, His potencies, so we don't misunderstand Him as some ordinary personality. So I think we'll stop there. Is there any discussion or questions?
Do you think you could tell a pastime of illustrating how someone does come to Krishna consciousness? Because you and Donna Kaylee have been doing this book distribution and preaching and sharing Krishna consciousness for so many years. Can you give us a few glorious examples of how people's lives were changed that you've met?
Think of something specific. It's not a big number of people. It's always a smaller number that actually come to devotional service. So we've met some people, especially when we had a preaching center for 9 years, that connected with the Harinam. First, some attraction. What is this? And that, or Srila Prabhupada's books. And then when they get the association of devotees, they can see that how devotional service is being applied and how one is getting a taste for devotional service. He's actually relishing, giving up all other unnecessary things. So, I don't have a specific pastime, but I was thinking how we have to, all of us have to, Bhagavatam is giving shelter. Holy name is giving shelter to the devotee, to the conditioned soul. Worshipping the deity, Krishna's appearing as the deity, as Bhagavatam, as the holy name. So we have to apply ourselves to such a degree that we're actually feeling, happy and sheltered. And that's I'm sure we've all had some realization, all of us are sitting here. I didn't fully answer your question, but
sometimes it's not like you see the direct result right away, with that, what we're speaking about. Like for instance, when I was first starting to see devotees, and I can't remember if this particular incident was before I had gone to the Boston Temple, or was dragged to the Boston Temple, or after. But there was an Earth Day in 1970 in Boston. It was or 69, I don't remember. It was over by Northeastern, where the museum is.
Northeastern University.
Yeah, Northeastern University.
Mass Ave.
Excuse me?
It's on Mass Ave.
Yeah, Mass Ave, right, exactly. There's a park back in that corner there, and the museum is there. So I kept, where I lived on Beacon Hill, but I had lived over by that Northeastern for a while. And then, but when I would get off the train from work, that's where the Kirtan party would be, the Harinam. So I was having lots of discussions with them, and I had seen Giriraj Maharaj and Radharani and Janava and Nandakishore coming down Boylston Street. I first heard them, and then I saw them, and I thought, oh, this is the postgraduate of the hippie life, or they've just descended from another planet. But, it's just, wow. And this is before George Harrison, I think, so, but I was really intrigued. And Radharani gave me a card. And I said, is this meditation? Like transcendental meditation? Because I was really put off by Maharishi. I actually lost respect for the Beatles. I thought, how could you be into him, you know? So she said, yeah, it's meditation and it's transcendental. So, so I started chanting. I really liked the sound of the mantra. And then I would see them every day. And then I came at the end of this Earth Day concert, and Pete Seeger just finished singing or something. And then I see Giriraj get up on the stage. I didn't know his name at the time, but I know now. And they were saying about, you know, cleaning the earth and so on. And then Giriraj said, actually, there's sound pollution. We need to purify the sound with this transcendental sound vibration by chanting the Hare Krishna mantra. And he was encouraging everyone as they're leaving this concert that they all should take to chanting the Hare Krishna mantra. Mm-hmm. And Pete Seeger was really annoyed. It turns out he was an atheist. And he pushed them away.
Hare Krishna. Yogendra here recording on.
I'm sorry.
This one is about.
What are you saying, Prabhu?
So Pete Seeger pushed him out of the way and said, if you really want to do something practical, pick up all the paper cups and cans and on your way out. So many years passed by, and I hadn't had much of an opportunity to tell. And I was really put off by Pete Seeger's actions, and I really felt for Giriraj. And I had seen Giriraj be attacked by some crazy hooligans over by Beacon Hill there, by St. Charles Street, physically beaten, actually. I got there just as it was ending. So I felt bad.
At the same festival?
Huh?
At the same...
No, it was on Harinam. It was on Harinam. And I thought, wow, this person is really sacrificing for something, and not just, you know, he's actually putting his life out there. And but later, many, many years later, in Los Angeles, it was at least, you know, at least almost 25 years later, he had just finished giving a class, and I went up to him and told him about it, that I'd seen all this. And he goes, well, what did you think? First of all, he was surprised. You were there? Because he was like the only devotee there. And I said, yeah, I was there. And I saw the whole thing. He said, well, what did you think? Was I out of line? I said, no. No, it's impressive. It had a major impact. You know, and so sometimes it comes at you from far away, that you don't know at that moment what you've just done has impacted someone's life. And occasionally, if you're fortunate, someone will come up to you and say, you know, just a brief incident, it's just by being out there. I mean, I don't know if it's exactly answering what the question is, but in the late 70s, my first wife and I, with my son, we were up in Long Island, a town called Oceanside. We were walking through the huge athletic field, and it's a very large school. It was during the summer, and there was a janitor inside, but everything was locked down. And he saw us, and he wanted to come out and find out what we were, but he couldn't get out at that section of the building. By the time we got around to the front and then back out where we were gone. A week passes, and I'm in the Manhattan Temple. And we were dressed like devotees. And he said, were you in Oceanside at the high school last week? I go, yeah, why? He said, I saw you guys. I never saw anything like it. And I've been looking all around just to find out, you know, what it's all about. And so you just don't know how the smallest thing can spark something in someone's life. And you get that. So I know that by what you're doing, going out there every single week and day that you can, and giving these books, you never know where these books will end up. And believe me, I know for a fact, there's a very interesting story where a famous book distributor with Radha Damodar, he had fallen on some hard times for a brief moment in his Krishna conscious career. So one day he's hitchhiking, person picks him up, and then when he was distributing books for Radha Damodar, they used to sign their names inside the book. So he gets in the car and he gets into a philosophical discussion with this person, and the person's like, well, wait a second. Here, look in my glove compartment there. Get that book out, right there. It's called the Bhagavad Gita. And so he's going, whoa. He opens the book, and there's his signature. He had sold the book to this person. If that's not Krishna chasing in a reverse way, he chases after you.
Jai. Yeah, there's a question.
You were giving translations of what each person does, like making friends, it was like Arjuna. But the last two things you didn't translate after you said them. I don't know.
Oh, I'm sorry. The last is Atmaniveda, complete self-surrender. Give everything, your body, mind, words, everything to Krishna. And that was Bali Maharaj. And then what's before that?
That was a Hanuman with service, Dasyam.
Dasyam is service. The personality Hanuman. Or Ramachandra's servant, yeah. Is that it?
Mm-hmm.
I have one quick story, it's late, but we had a preaching center at the University of Illinois, and we were doing a dinner program once a week. And so there's one girl who started coming to the dinner, and she liked it. Anyway, she was a very social person, and kind of, what's the word, kind of rebellious person, and intelligent, but she was, I guess she was doing her academics okay, but she was kind of a leader of the whole group, and she, a little wild, and they'd start going, Friday night would be the bars, the weekend, sense gratification. They'd start on Thursday, and, going to the bars and intoxication and all that. And she started coming, and she liked it, and then she became friends with us. And then she started bringing all her friends. Come on, you have to come to this dinner that was called the Krishna dinner. And we would get, last few years we were there, we'd get over 200 people one night. And then she started doing service, then she started coming to our weekend program at our house and started chanting. And she'd bring a few of her friends. Anyway, it's just, like you're asking, it was a very amazing transformation knowing what her life had been. And pretty soon she was very humbly taking shelter of chanting and, of us personally taking direction. Even her mind was really wild. She wasn't a sadhaka. And even, I think for her birthday, she brought all her friends and we had a big feast at the house. And she knew how, actually, somehow or other, she knew how to play harmonium. So we would let everybody chant. I mean, those who know how to lead, and she would lead. And so all her friends were like, oh, this is really great. And now she's traveling. She has a partner, and she's traveling on the West Coast in a big Sprinter van, and they go to all the big festivals, the Bhakti Fest, and her, they're married now. Her husband, has studied Sanskrit, and he's like a major kirtan leader for all these big festivals. So it's really nice to see people like, I mean, she's not going to go back. So it's nice.
I had a program in the University of Georgia in Athens, and this was in 1972. And so there's two men were coming, one of them seemed very interested, and the other one always had this like, "Are you kidding me?" look on his face. So I didn't think he was serious. And long story short, he was the head chef at the Wrangler Steakhouse, and his father owned that place. And he became when he came to join the temple, his father was chasing after the car. And as we turned the corner, we didn't see it happen, but the father had a heart attack and left his body. And fortunately, it was still early enough in the 70s that we wouldn't get, And he just said, "Does this mean my father's karma now stopped?" I said, "Well, you just became a devotee, and he doesn't." So, he said, "Well,
Stay a devotee.
yeah, you stay." But so it turns out, in 1976, we bought milk sweets from that he had made, Sandesh especially, and Rasgulla. And we brought it to the Mayapur festival, and Prabhu said, "This is the best milk sweets in all of ISKCON."
Really?
Yes. His name is Rama Notsuka, and now he's in Bhaktivedanta Manor, and he's like one of the professors there. I've seen him giving classes.
Nice.
So, yeah, when I saw him at first in the crowd, I thought, he's a real cynic. Forget it. It turned out he was actually, can't judge a book by the cover.
Srila Prabhupada ki.
He died.
Srimad Bhagavatam ki.
He died.
Prabhu, very nice, and I love your story. I mean, it's amazing that you made both the husband and wife, right?
Is that your thing on the floor?
Yeah,
The
yeah.
husband and wife.
No, it's
She
just
made
the
him
girls.
holy,
You know how to
but
turn
she
it
made this
off?
guy
Yeah.
holy.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah. But I'm just
Oh,
leaving
yeah.
it like as it is
She was
now
with
over here.
somebody else
I'll turn it off now.